Okay, hi Naseegha. Thank you so much for joining me on Terripy today. I really, really appreciate that you've joined me, and because we're going to talk about something that I feel really passionate about. And I started this conversation last week, but therapy is about really being authentic and really being as honest as possible. And so this is why I wanted to bring you on as an extension of last week's conversation, and not so much about facts, but more about a personal journey. So before we do that, maybe you can just introduce yourself.
Okay, cool. I'm Naseegha. I'm 31 years old. I have twin boys, 5-year-old twin boys, and I am currently in my final year of BA Humanities, majoring in English Studies. Next year, I've been accepted for the postgraduate certificate in education at Stellenbosch University. So that's what I'm gonna do next year, and it's FET grade 10 to 12. So I'm really excited. I'm amped for that. I
Yeah.
had some disappointments last regards to my studies, but we can speak about that a bit later on.
Oh, that's so great. I'm so excited for you. We know each other from we worked together a while ago, and and I remember you spoke about um, finishing your studies and so on and so on. Um, so I'm so glad that you finally did that, and now you're going on to postgraduate studies, which is wonderful. I love to celebrate women, and I love to celebrate women doing exciting things such as completing their education and plowing back into
Yeah.
the community through teaching. Yeah, this is great. We're talking about mental health, obviously, and so let's
Mm.
get into it. So you have a whole
Sorry.
I'm saying let's just get into it, and because you have a whole journey, right? You have a whole story. So let's begin at the beginning. You suffered with mental
I
health. Tell us about it.
I I try to like write down a timeline, or so if seem a bit incoherent with regards to like a chronological order, I apologize in advance. But I would say my issues started in my teens. I was very rebellious. Like I was probably the most problematic child for my mother, and yeah, I would do things that like and not worry about the consequences. And I used to think like everyone is like that. Everyone thinks the way I do. Um, I think it was more but of depression in my teens, because like I would cry myself to sleep for no reason. I wouldn't get out of bed like some days, and just emotional for no reason. There's no trigger, and obviously at that time I couldn't like speak to anyone, or it was just something that I'm just going with emotions. And then I meet my husband, and I'm really trying to go according to chronological order, and I think an hour for this is too little anyway. So yeah, I meet my husband, and everything was just rosy, and I was happy at that stage. I had no depression or no mental illness at that time. Or obviously at that time I didn't think of it as a mental illness, because that is just the way I am. And then we got married and had some disappointments with regards to, like, we had a miscarriage in 2012, and that was my first year. No, 2015, that was my second year at varsity. And from there on, everything just went haywire, like my mental health. And
So,
I went to a
sorry to interrupt you. So you say that everything went haywire with your mental health. What does that mean? What does everything went haywire with my mental? What does it mean?
I became rude and miserable, depressed. Like I didn't go out, I didn't socialize. And also, I think at that time, or even in my teens, I had a bit of social anxiety. And while my siblings would always make fun of that. But yeah, so I became very withdrawn, sad. I'm always sad, emo. Yeah, so we decided to go to a GP and tell him what's going on, because obviously it was emotionally taxing on my husband, and it was just the two of us at the time. So the GP put me on a very mild antidepressant, and it worked for a while until I I had a second miscarriage, and that was after we had fertility treatment. Okay, so I'm on this antidepressant, and I'm kind of a bit stable, but obviously I am traumatized and I'm scarred and my heart is broken.
Because
And
you had
then,
miscarriages, right? Your heart is broken because you had miscarriages, okay?
yes, sorry, that miscarriage was in 2014. And I was still a full-time student. I was in my final year, and it was first semester. So I had another miscarriage, and after that, I went to a guy, and he obviously checked me out, and we figured that I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, and also that is a hormone. It's like a hormonal illness or whatever, and that PCOS is also like a contributing factor to depression because it's hormonal, chemical, and then we had fertility treatment again. I fell pregnant with the twins. And from there on, I was just on autopilot, just trying to go through the motions. And obviously, I was very paranoid also for, like, I don't want that to happen again. And I was on a lot of medication to prevent that from happening. And I had stopped the antidepressants at that time. Also, it was very pricey and I couldn't afford it.
Sure.
Because obviously, my husband was the only one working at that time. And then, so I was probably on autopilot for 2 years. My mental health, I'm not even taking note of it. I'm just going with emotions. And the twins were born prematurely, 3 months early. And yeah, so when they eventually came home after 2 months, I looked after them, or I took care of them for a year. And then I started working at that place where I met you. It was all good and well. Hello, I was earning a salary. I can buy stuff and still autopilot. And then just suddenly I think that was 2016 or 2017, the twins turned 3, I think, at that time. Boom, I'm in that hole, in that dark hole again. And I don't tell anyone. I used to sit at work and just like zone out for forever. And like my team leader would complain, like, you're not being productive. I would lose time. And then I told my husband, like, I have a problem, and I know it's taxing on you, because I would have moods and I would take it out on him. And he is such a softie. I know he's God sent, Terry. I don't think anyone else would put up with me. And so I went to the GP again, and I'm on antidepressants again. So it's going well. And the thing about depression or mental illness, you try to suppress those feelings. You kind of imagine that it's gonna go away by itself, but it's not. And then started on the antidepressants, and my moods were just like, for all the time that I've been married, my moods would just be all over the place. Like Karim wouldn't know who he's going to get today. Like,
Karim is your husband, yeah?
Karim is my husband. Like, today, like the different personalities. I don't have a personality disorder, but angry Naseegha today, happy Naseegha tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I would have manic phases. now I know that it was a manic phase. At that time, I couldn't label it. I would just spend money and not think about the consequences, things like that. And so I got very depressed also in that environment that I worked in. And sorry, I didn't mention that I had to suspend my studies in 2014 because of the high risk pregnancy. So I had to suspend my studies and I stayed at home.
Yeah.
Then, you know, I am like this when I speak about this, like I'm just all over the place. So I apologize for that.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, I was depressed. It was a very unpleasant environment. I'm sorry to say it was. My mental health was declining there, and I felt like, what am I doing here? I'm not growing. There's nothing that is stimulating my brain. I need to go back to university because it feels as if, I don't know, you're just becoming, your brain isn't stimulated. And then I decided in 2019, in January, I was very depressed this day. I decided I'm not going to work. So I stayed at home. And it was almost like an epiphany. Boom. I don't care what happens now. I had a car to pay. I don't care what happens now, but I'm going back to uni. And I contacted them and blah, blah, blah. I was accepted again to complete my final year, 2019. I resigned from that place. I was the happiest I've ever been. 2019 was just amazing. And then I passed first semester modules of flying colors last year.
Yeah.
So my plan was to finish my final year and go and do the postgraduate certificate in education this year. Because obviously I need to complete my stuff so I can work and contribute to the household. And yeah, I went to varsity, passed my first semester, then came second semester. Oh my word, I had psychology, but on second year level. So it was statistics and research methods, which I struggled with a lot. I struggle with numbers. That is, it is what it is. And I wrote a test, the predicate test to give you access or to the exam. I failed that test, and they took that away. Like, we could just write even if you failed the semester test. I went to tutoring sessions with my brother. I was just amped. I'm gonna pass this, and then I failed both exams. So I didn't even get the second opportunity. So I'm like down in the gutters. That was the worst time of my life, Tiri. I was just a very unpleasant person to be around because now my plans are changing. I feel like I'm disappointing everyone who's in my corner. And then I got admission to a dean's exam because those were the only two modules that I failed. So the dean's exam was to be, and last year I also got accepted for this PGCE program. And I got admitted to the dean's exam thing, and I wrote that and I failed again. But before I got my results, I was already in this PGCE program. It was probably like 3 weeks of classes that I have attended already, and now I failed these two modules and I had to fall out of a program, and I was just to the ground. And but with that said, I have an army of support behind me. My siblings, my friends, my husband. Yeah. I don't know, Karim just, he has so much on his plate. I mean, he takes care of us and he has to deal with my moods. And then we decided, okay, I can't be this unhealthy, mentally unhealthy for my children. I'm going to see, fortunately for us, we have medical aid, and there's this benefit. I think most medical aids has it, or health insurance. Yeah. So there's this benefit of 21 days in hospital where you are admitted to a clinic, and I was so fearful of that. I found this great psychologist.
Why were you afraid of it though? What? I suppose. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I was afraid of sharing a room with someone, and in my mind, I thought it was gonna be a whole clinical thing, you know. And at every consultation with my psychologist and my psychiatrist, they would advise me to be admitted, and I'd be like, no, I don't want to leave my children, and um, what if we lose that bond in the 2 weeks that I'm in the clinic? And eventually, like, going to my psychologist and psychiatrist, finally there was a diagnosis for my moods, depression, whatever the roller coaster that I'm on. My psychiatrist diagnosed me with bipolar affective disorder. Type 2, I think type 2 is a less severe one. It's more of depression with one manic episode here and there. But it was more of the bipolar 2 is more depressive episodes. And then we started medication. I'm currently on the same medication that we started last year. That was at the end of November when I started the medication. They started me on a antidepressant, a mood stabilizer, calming tablets, and things like that. And for some other miraculous reason, my meds just worked with me. They didn't need to try something else. Let's try something else this month or that month. And my mood improved, my mental stability improved. I was a much more pleasant person to be around, and I I had a relationship with my children because they are very close to their daddy. Like they would always ask him to do something because I think I was a bit absent. Obviously, with the depression, I was just in my room all the time, or um, I would let him do everything. Like, I'll cook for you guys. You just wash them and stay out of my face. And then the medication also like improved my mental health. And what month is it now? July. I think it was at the beginning of June. So I had 11 days of my mental health benefit left. Because obviously I have been seeing the psychiatrist and a psychologist as an outpatient. And I asked him, I don't, something just told me, like, ask him to be admitted to the clinic. And he sorted that out for me. I told him, like, the Thursday that I wanted to be admitted to the clinic. I was scheduled for the next Monday to be admitted. And I was so excited because I've had people tell me, like, it's not what you think it is, like clinical. It's homely, and you learn a lot about yourself. And that was a perfect time for me to be admitted because it's lockdown. I don't see my family anyway. My husband is home to take care of the twins. And then I went to the clinic. Oh my word, Terry, that was an experience of a lifetime. So I only had 10 days in the clinic, which is absolutely not enough. And the first 2 days, I was just there. I haven't started with therapy yet, or group therapy, anything. I was just there feeling the vibes and, getting used to the place and my other inmates. And then,
Is that what you called each other, inmates?
And it was so, it's not, I don't know if I can like say which clinic I went to. It's Tiger Valley Clinic in Durbanville. It's like a hotel. Like I had a room to myself, and it was just liquor. It was nice to not be responsible for anything, for anyone, you know. And then we started the group therapy. In group therapy, they taught us how to manage your emotions and like coping mechanisms. Journaling. We did journaling, and if anyone who knows me knows I have an obsession with stationery and books and whatever, notepads. And then, yeah, we did this group therapy and learned how to journal and just write about your life. And I love writing, but obviously the writing is the most writing that I've done was for academic purposes. So I would like to write. It's almost like therapy. I don't know if it's called narrative therapy. I would like to start that, but before before I tell you about writing and completing tasks and you know whatever, you know, and everyone knows that I'm a bookworm. And there was one day when I spoke to Amore. You know Amore. I told her.
Uh-huh.
I told her.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Amore, you know I'm a bookworm, but I can't read too long because then my thoughts just my mind dwells. And she's like, "What? I don't understand. You're a reader, but you can't read for too long." And even with my studies, I couldn't study for too long. Like I would study for 30 minutes and take a 2-hour break. And then I spoke to my psychiatrist about the attention problem. And obviously, off back and forth, we did like some experiments, try this, then read a book, and you know, and then they diagnosed me with a mild form of ADHD. And you would think that you would only find that in adults, but
children.
Yeah.
You think you'd only find that in children, maybe?
In children. And then we started medication for ADHD, and it helps. It helps a lot. Like I can watch a movie from beginning to end. I can read. I can also, you know, about the cookery. I started baking as a means of therapy too.
And I ask you that. I wanted to ask you because you started baking while we were working, and I remembered that suddenly, just like out of nowhere, you just started baking. I was like, what the little girl? Of course, we enjoyed the cakes.
We planned nothing. It wasn't in my mind that I want to bake one day. I just watched a video on YouTube and I was like, wow, that looks therapeutic. Let me try this. And then I tried it, and what do you know? I have that skill, I think. And the baking was very therapeutic. And then people started ordering, and I thought to myself, why not just make like a home business out of it? And I did that, and I'm still baking. Like I have a lot of orders for this weekend, which I'm very grateful for. I'm still paying study debt. Yeah, and sorry, I'm so incoherent. I don't remember what we spoke about before.
We were talking
about the clinic.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you asked me about spiritual healing during the week. I don't really have experience with spiritual healing, but I would say spiritual healing is, I don't know, like processing your emotions naturally without medication, like yoga or meditation. I've done that. I've been doing that, but obviously I don't stick to it. And mindfulness, that is the one thing we learned about in clinic. Mindfulness, just closing your eyes, living in that moment, clearing your mind,
Yeah.
And I would say that is really a good technique to, but I just want to break that stigma of the perception that medication is numbs you or drives you even more crazy. And in our community, in the colored community, mental illness is chase mal your kopras. You understand? There's always a stigma attached to it. But I have always been vocal about. I don't hide or okay. I'm I'm a pro at pretending or putting up a screen. Yeah, that word. So I'm very vocal about it on my statuses, on my WhatsApp, on my social media. I speak about it because there is nothing to be ashamed of. And even if I can be that person to inspire or persuade others to not be ashamed of, and mental illness is so prevalent these days. With lockdown, especially our economy, the things that the crime in our country, and just everything, it's normal, and it should be as normal as you would go to the doctor for flu. You should be able to go to the psychologist without judgment or And sad thing about South Africa is the accessibility of therapy. We are fortunate because we have medical aid. What about those people in the rural areas or communities?
Don't have enough money to, whether you live in a rural area or not, if you don't have the money to pay. I pay 820 rand for one session. I mean, come on, that's outrageous. And so there are people who can't afford that. Absolutely. So whether you are rich or whether you live in not rich, whether you live in a rural area or whether you live on the Cape Flats or whether you live in Constantia or Campsdale, I mean, if you don't have an income to pay, exactly. And I mean, they all, I've heard about organizations like the Counseling Hub in Woodstock. They do one session for 50 rand. This was the last I heard. Yeah, one session, which is about 45 minutes, for 50 rand. But of course, you can.
But just imagine all the appointments or like the backlog that they have, even at the government hospitals too. You would probably wait like 2 months before you see a psychologist or social worker or whatever. It's terrible. And
so
yeah,
I always want to say to people who do have access to it, like, use your medical aid, like use it to look after your mental health, even if it's like you just feeling slightly down. Use it. Something traumatic has happened. Your mother has died. You got robbed. Whatever, you broke up with somebody. You are going through a divorce. You are not able to cope financially.
One would swear I work for these medical aid schemes because I'm like, you have medical aid, like use it. You pay every month. You have everything you need is like right here. You have access to these services. Use it, and we all use it in our house. Even my husband, I told him, like, go see a psychologist. You have a lot to talk about. My condition is it's taxing on him. I understand, and he is really my pillar.
And I want to take a second, Naseegha, just to talk about that. So you keep on saying that it's very taxing on him, or he's been like he had to go through so many of your moods. Like, I'm supposed I should be asking you this question, but because you are the wife and you know him, how was he dealing, or what was he experiencing specifically? How was he coping with your episodes, as you say, with your episodes?
How was he coping? He's not a very good communicator, so he would just deal with me, like just have you tantrum, get over it, blah blah blah, yada yada. I'll just buy you a bunch of flowers with chocolate. Now you feel better. It has always just been like that. He doesn't communicate, so I'm just here taking out my moods on him, and you know, so that is also why I told him to go for therapy. Like, I probably traumatized him in the past as well with my moods, and like I wouldn't become aggressive, but angry, and he would be the only one in like on who I can take it out on. I would pick a fight. I would bring stuff up out of the past just to pick a fight. Let's fight. I want to fight, but never like never fought back. He would just sit there and look at this crazy person.
I mean, not to say that you are crazy or anybody experiencing mental health is crazy. It's just an adjective that you're using to describe your situation, right?
It's not. Oh, you're not crazy, and that is the thing. I want people to know it's okay. It's okay to feel some type of way. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel weak. There's nothing wrong with you, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. You know, we try our best in our household to instill that in the twins, that you can speak about anything to us. If you're sad, feel the feels. If you're angry, feel the feels. Just we try not to say things like, don't cry, you're a big boy, or get over it, and things like that. No, that is how we were raised. And you know, you couldn't speak about things to your parents, because at that time, mental health, like, there's no such thing as illness. And I explained to them, I'm going to the clinic and I'm going there to get better for you, because my brain there's something in my brain that we need to fix. And I always try to be honest with them, so they know now the difference between a psychologist and a doctor, a normal doctor. And we're very open and honest with them with regards to your mental wellness.
Yeah. So I heard you saying, and this came out in the last conversation we had. I was speaking to Janine, you know Janine, and to David Muller, who's my mentor. One of the big things that came out to us was relationship. Is how you need to have this network of people around you when you are experiencing mental illness. You need to have this people, and it sounds to me as if you're saying your husband was one of those people who was really your network of support. I suppose there are other people. I mean, now we talk about the clinic, that was also now a network. That was one of the people that, I mean, organizations you can call it, or just one of those things that helped you, relationships that supported you as well. Yeah.
I am lucky to have a very open relationship with my psychologist. There's no holding back and scared of saying this and that, and you understand. And Terry, even like my siblings, my friend circle, they are also super supportive. When I'm not in the mood to socialize, I can tell them without feeling bad, I don't want to socialize today, or please don't come to my house, or you know. And with that said, like, there was something very profound, something that I will never ever forget, is that day that I got my marks, my failed marks of psychology. I cried so much. And even my younger brother cried with me. He's my best friend. And when I graduate one day, I'm going to share my degree with him. But he's also taking a break from his studies now. The evening, my sister pulled up in front of my house with my cousin, who I call my second husband, Imad. We're very close. They pulled up here in front and they're like, get in the car. Where are we going? Just go get the jersey and get in the car. And we drove to Stellenbosch. We picked up my brother and his girlfriend, and we just walked around in town. You know what Stellenbosch is like, with the coffee shops and that I had a slice of cheesecake that night. I'm not a sweetie. I don't have a sweet tooth. I had this big slice of cheesecake which I finished, and they just lifted my mood, and I was so grateful. And like, I couldn't even explain to them like how much I appreciate what they are doing, because they are also going through things. And yeah, they are picking me up, saying, you always pick up other people, or you always try to be there for others. Let us be here for you.
That's so good, because often one of the problems, in my experience, and we say in my experience, is people get to this point where they're struggling with their mental health because they're neglecting themselves, because they are taking care of everything else, and so they neglect themselves.
Yes.
So that's so important to say. That you are always there for others. Let us be here for you. And that's why this network of support is so important, because these are the people who are able to recognize there's something not okay with you. Please, can we sit with you for a moment? Please, can we experience your sadness with you, if it doesn't make total sense to us, or whatever. But we need to begin to identify these people so that they can be almost a reflection of what we need to be for ourselves.
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And maybe now just to move on to something else, because I see that our time is getting up. I want to talk about medication, because now I hear you took something for ADHD, you had a mood stabilizer, you had an antidepressant, you had a whole string of drugs. But now you sound very positive about it, which is somewhat usual when people are taking tablets for mental illness, right? It's always a very negative thing if you're taking medication. So I really want you to talk not too long, just a little bit more about how good this medication has been here, because we neglect the medication part. We think, oh, I'm doing the therapy now, which is great, and I applaud people to do therapy. I'm an advocate of, you need to do therapy. Like, it's absolutely necessary. But we cannot, if the therapist and the psychologist is suggesting we take medication, we take it, but then we don't take it. We don't drink it, because we think there's still a stigma somehow in the back of our minds that it makes us crazy, you know? But you have a different opinion. I obviously have a different opinion. So maybe just talk a little more about it.
You know, it's different for everyone. Like the side effects and the impact it has on you, it's different for everyone. So I was very lucky when we started this regime of medication that it worked for me. And also, if I had not been on medication, I would probably still be super okay. I do some days have that the depressive vibe where I need to stay in bed. I cry, and I cry a lot for everything, even if I'm happy. And the medication for me, I don't even have like really bad side effects, except for my cotton mouth. I can't deal with that. I drink water all day, and the ADHD medication, I don't take it every day. I only take it when needed, when I need to study, or so I try not to abuse that or take that every day. I'm on a calming tablet too, which also you can become very dependent on it, and you build up tolerance very quickly in a week. So I only take that when necessary. And my other chronic medication, which I need to take every day, it's twice a day, in the morning and in the evening. I'm very, very religious with taking my medication. There's not a day that I skip. It's because I'm so scared of going back to that space where I was. So yeah.
Yeah. I think I used an antidepressant as well. I used a mood stabilizer as well. It was so beneficial to me. Um,
Yeah.
and that coupled with therapy, it helped me. And so, and look at me now, right? Look at you now. We are so much so much more
Oh,
about mental health.
I-
We're good. We are able to speak about when we're not feeling good. We feel empowered to be able to say, I'm having a bad day, I'm feeling emotional, or I'm feeling whatever I'm feeling. We are so much more better at saying, vocalizing what we're feeling because we are so much more aware of our mental health. And I want to say that even if you don't think you suffer from mental health, just read up on it anyway, because the person, your brother, your sister, your mother, your grandmother could be suffering because of it. And
Educate yourself. Educate yourself. You have nothing to lose. I hate it when people speak from a place of privilege or um they don't know, like you are uneducated but you have an opinion regarding this. No.
yeah, yeah,
No.
absolutely, absolutely. So I like, as I say, I'm an advocate for mental health and for like simultaneously having a relationship with God while still going to see a therapist. I advocate for it all the time, anytime, every day of the week, because I know
Thank
the effects of it. Of course,
And before you go, I just want to mention something. I don't want to offend anyone, but I've been seeing on Facebook. I don't know if it's self righteousness or what. People, some of my Facebook friends, I don't even care if they watch this video. I must get it out of there, out there. They ha- comments. They comment on things like, if there's an article about someone who committed suicide, and they will be like, that person has no faith, and how can
mm,
speaking from a place of no experience, what do you know what that person went through for you to say that person has no faith?
yeah, yeah.
Who are you? Who are you to make that judgment?
And at this point, I want to encourage them to watch the video before this, because we actually speak about that in the video before this with David Miller and Janine Jackson. We speak about how our faith relates to mental health. And I mean, just watch the video. I want to say that. Just watch the video because
I need to watch that video because I know Janine.
please do, please
And
do.
we have the same psychiatrist.
Okay, so I mean, just 5 more minutes we have left, and maybe just a last comment, just sort of the very pertinent, important things that you feel like you want to share with people. If they have to watch just 5 minutes of this video and at least for the last 5 minutes, what is it that you want them to know?
I want them to know there is nothing to be ashamed of, and you cannot take care of others, and you can't pour from an empty cup. So you need to look after yourself before you can look after anyone else.
Yeah.
And we should break that stigma. Oh my word, it angers me. We should break that stigma that mental illness is something that we shouldn't talk about. You need to keep it to yourself. That is completely defeating the purpose of therapy.
Yeah.
And that's why I try as best to be vocal about my illness. If anyone can just see that what I'm posting on my status, and I'll get a message like, oh, wow, Naseegha, we are also struggling with that. Can you advise who you see, like who's your therapist and things like that? I just want to break that cycle of that stigma that is attached to it. And also bipolar disorder, I have noticed that people perceive bipolar disorder, someone with bipolar disorder, as aggressive, angry, completely whack, because that is how people sometimes describe people, or they would just use the term loosely, kyk for bipolar disorder, and
I know
kyk
that.
bipolar disorder, but that is just using the term loosely, and I want people to read up about bipolar disorder. It's not something that anyone needs to be afraid of you, or avoid you. And when I go through my emotions now, I try to not take it out on my husband. I will never take it out on my children, but I will just say, can you just leave me alone? Like, let me just calm down, gather my thoughts. I can't speak to you now. So yeah, I wish everyone can be able to talk about what is bothering them, their mental illness, no judgment. And my house is like that. Everyone knows, my friends know. There is no topic that is prohibited in my house. We speak about everything. There's no boundaries. Anything you want to talk about, let's discuss it. Let's dissect it. Even when it comes to religion, I respect what we should start respecting what other people's beliefs, and you can be religious or have faith while still accepting that other people are different, or their lifestyles has absolutely nothing to do with you. We should just accept each other.
Absolutely. And so to conclude, I want to say that what you're talking about now, my because I was struggling with mental health, it allowed me to accept others for who they are, because I knew I wanted to be accepted for who I was, with my moods, with my ups and my downs. And so I couldn't expect that from others if I didn't give that back to you. So I think mental health helped me realize so much. My mental health illness helped me realize so much more about the world, and just coming to self-awareness, and just appreciating everybody's differences and people's ups and downs. And I couldn't have come to this place, in my opinion, without my therapist, without my psychologist. And that is why for me, it was so important.
We should be open-minded and aware of what is going on around you, and just be mindful of what you say to others, and how you portray yourself, especially on social media.
Okay. I feel like you're scolding somebody now.
That is strictly aimed at the self-righteous ones.
Okay. Naseegha, let me say thank you for your time. Let me say thank you for your vulnerability and for your openness, willingness to share, because I feel like we both feel share this passion for people's mental health, and just for them to come to a space of just equilibrium. Let's say that, space of equilibrium, and where they can just be themselves. So thank you so much. And your husband,
soon in future.
of course. And hey,
maybe I should start a vlog. I kind of like this.
Absolutely. It's very therapeutic as well. That's why my channel is called Terripy. Because it's right. So anyway, I want to tell your husband that I appreciate his support in your life. I appreciate his awareness about mental health, and obviously now goes into different communities as well. So thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good afternoon. It's afternoon in South Africa, so have a good afternoon. It's already dark. Cool. Thank you so much, Naseegha. I appreciate it.
Welcome. Thanks you for giving me this platform to raise awareness.
Cool. Stay safe, yeah. Bye.
Bye.